Hey, hi guys. Thank you so much for rolling in again today. Uh, an amazing set of guests with me today. Uh, Welcome to Beyond the Box. This is a new episode and a new set of guests. And these guests bring a lot of amazing experience, uh, great set of expectations, and amazing sets of knowledge and stories today we bring to you. On my right, I have Spandana. Uh, and Spandana largely is Teach for India Fellow, also worked in various parts on content and education system. And today she will be talking about how and what she has done overall in her life and how she has mentored her life to be a better human being for herself, for her daughter, and for a lot of young children. On front of me, I have Prakhar. Prakhar is an IITian who chose to remain in the field of education and continuously aspiring to help other uh, fellow students who want to go to IIT and helping them to make them a better human being as well. On my left is Mathli ma'am. She's an amazing teacher, a great person who has been mentoring students in her career and now impacting a larger audience through the help of building amazing content. So I have this amazing set of people who have dedicated themselves for education. But before we jump into the topic of education, let's know them a little more. So we'll start with Spandana.
Sure.
It'll be really good to know who you are, where did you grow up, how a journey till now will be something which will be
Yeah.
interesting to know.
Yeah. I think, first of all, I'm excited to be here. I think I'm going to start off with that. I'm excited to be here. I think just the warm up conversations were just so much fun, and I'm really looking forward to getting to hear both of your stories as well there. So I grew up, I think, predominantly in Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Tamil Nadu as well. So I think schooling was till grade 5 in Hyderabad, then most of it in Bangalore. And then my engineering was in near Trichy in Shastra University, so that's where it happened. I think growing up, I'm the oldest of 3 girls, so it felt like a girls' hostel growing up, and that was my dad's running joke. And the tenet that we used to follow was, whatever you do, your make or break, your litmus test is your grade 10 marks, right? I think that's what we like grew up with growing up, and papa to papa hai, so you have to sort of like respect that it got that reverence and awe at home. But it was fun. I think I was blessed to go to some really good schools, which sort of like made was a foundation to who I am today. The skills that I had growing up as well. So I think that was really cool that I sort of like was privileged enough to sort of like attend these schools. And yeah, I think I think I'll start with that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. प्रखर, मैं जानना चाहूँगा आप कहाँ पले बड़े, घर में कौन कौन, कैसी आईआईटी की जर्नी कहाँ शुरू हुई?
Sir, first of all, thank you very much for having this conversation. तो मेरा बर्थ अजमेर में हुआ, इट्स इन राजस्थान. तो अजमेर एक छोटा टाउन है, राइट? बट
अजमेर शरीफ के लिए बहुत
फेमस है, ठीक है. और कोटा ज़्यादा दूर नहीं है, तो आप समझ रहे हो कि
तो बचपन में ही कोटा का,
हाँ, मतलब एक होता है कि इंजीनियरिंग करनी है, ठीक है, और आपको कोटा भी पास में है, ठीक है, आईआईटी कुछ होता है, तो वो एक टच हमेशा से रहा है, राइट? तो इन माय अर्ली स्कूल डेज, आप समझ लीजिए अंटिल 8th स्टैंडर्ड आई वॉज अ वेरी एवरेज किड, ठीक है. रैंक भी अपनी 20-30 के आसपास कुछ आ जाती थी, राइट? देन 9th स्टैंडर्ड के अंदर फर्स्ट टाइम आई जॉइंट अ कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट, राइट? एंड बहुत फॉर्चुनेट था मैं, वहाँ पे बहुत अच्छे मेरे को टीचर्स मिले. एंड व्हेन दे टॉट मी, मुझे ऐसा लगा कि यार मेरे खिड़की दरवाजे दिमाग के खुल चुके हैं, उसमें से ठंडी ठंडी हवा बह रही है, और अब मुझे बहुत सारी चीज़ें ना समझ में आनी स्टार्ट हो गई है, राइट? तो अपने इंडियन एजुकेशन सिस्टम में आप भी जानते हो उज्जवल कि यार थोड़ा रट्टा मारे वो पास हो जाओ, वो बहुत चलता है, राइट? मुझे वो बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं था, और रट्टा मार के याद करना इट वाज अ हेडेक फॉर मी. मेरे को स्टार्टिंग से मैथमेटिक्स बहुत अच्छी लगती थी, और 9th और 10th स्टैंडर्ड के अंदर मेरा मैथमेटिक्स का जो बैकग्राउंड था वो काफ़ी स्ट्रांग हो चुका था. मेरे घर पे मेरा बड़ा भाई है एंड वो ऑलरेडी वो 3 साल बड़ा है, तो वो 12th और इंजीनियरिंग वाला फेज देख चुका था, ठीक है। देन जब मैं 11th स्टैंडर्ड के अंदर आया, मेरे पापा चाहते थे कि भाई बड़ा बेटा बन गया इंजीनियर, छोटा वाला तू डॉक्टर बन जा, ठीक है। तो मैंने पापा को बोला, पापा नहीं हो पाएगा, ठीक है, मैथमेटिक्स मुझे पसंद है, आई गो विद पीसीएम सब्जेक्ट, ठीक है। और एक भाई ने ऑलरेडी एक पाथ पेव करके रखा था कि भाई इंजीनियरिंग में ऐसा ऐसा होता है, ठीक है। तो आई वॉज ऑल्सो एक्साइटेड किया चलो मैं भी पीसीएम लूंगा, आई बिकम इंजीनियर, राइट। उसके बाद फिर आता है कि पापा कोटा भेज दो मुझे, ठीक है। तो बट मेरी मम्मी एज यूजुअल जो मम्मी होती हैं कि अरे छोटा बेटा है कहाँ जाएगा कोटा, ठीक है, बेटा अजमेर के अंदर ही देखो ये भी इंस्टीट्यूट खुल गए हैं तो यहाँ से पढ़ ले, राइट। तो अब ज़्यादा मैं रिबेलियस नेचर का नहीं था, मम्मी पापा ने डिसाइड किया कि यहीं से पढ़ ले, तो मैंने वहीं पे पढ़ना स्टार्ट कर दिया, ठीक है। अब पढ़ाई लिखाई थोड़ी समझ में आ जाती थी, मैथमेटिक्स अच्छी थी, राइट, और लक भी थोड़ा सा फेवर किया और अपना आईआईटी निकल गया, ठीक है। और हम चले गए आईआईटी खड़गपुर में, राइट। अब मुझे उस टाइम पर आईआईटी की ब्रांडिंग चाहिए थी, नो मैटर व्हाट कि ब्रांच कौन सी मिल रही है, ठीक है। तो काउंसलिंग वगैरह हुई, वहां पे मिल गई मुझे केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग, देन आई ग्रेजुएटेड एज अ केमिकल इंजीनियर, देन आई वर्क फॉर रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज। उसके बाद देन कुछ ऐसी चीजें हुई, आई मूव टू द एजुकेशन सेक्टर, राइट। और फिर आज यहाँ पर हूँ मैं आपके सामने, राइट।
बहुत बढ़िया प्रखर, बहुत बढ़िया, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर शेयरिंग दिस, बिकॉज मुझे लगता है कि बहुत सारे बच्चे जो आपको सुनेंगे और वो आपसे पढ़ते हैं, आपकी कहानी समझेंगे, तो आपने ये जो कहा वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि ये रट्टा मार के किसी तरह से पास हो जाना, उससे एक समय के बाद जाके आप रुक जाएंगे। जब तक वो दिमाग की खिड़की खुलने वाली जो बात की वो नहीं होगी, तब तक ये लाइफ का जो स्ट्रगल है, अननेसेसरी प्रेशर है, वो बना रहेगा। अगर आपको शौक आ जाए, आपको पढ़ना अच्छा लगने लगे, सब्जेक्ट में मजा आने लगे, तो फिर ये जो एक्स्ट्रा प्रेशर वाली बात होती है ना, वो खत्म हो जाती है। ग्रेट, सो हम लोग मैथिली मैम से ही पूछ लेते हैं एंड देन वी जंप इनटू द सेक्शन 2। तो मैम आप कहाँ बड़े हुए, वेयर डिड यू ग्रो अप, व्हाट ऑल हैव यू डन इन योर चाइल्डहुड एंड हाउ डिड यू रीच ऑन द कंटेंट साइड ऑफ ऑल टेस्ट प्रेप?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really glad already because a lot of my story matches with Spandana. We were discussing, both of us have one daughter, both of us have a sister, and a lot of it matches. And I'm already wondering, like, you know so much about people after years of working together in the same organization. Only when you sit on the table and having a conversation like this, I'm glad for that, first of all, that and his little poetry there, Thandi Hawa.
That was definitely the poet in you coming out.
I was about to ask that, like, have you written poetry also? But then I didn't want to disturb your flow. So I grew up, my story started in Chennai. That's where I started my schooling. Although I took a little time when you asked me where are you from, because that's where my grandparents were, but I used to visit only during the vacations and all. My dad's was a transferable job, so he moved around a lot. So I did 6 schools throughout my. One thing I'm glad about that now, at this age, is that gave me a very rich experience of being in varied schools, different places, meeting different people, adaptation. Back then I did crib about it, like changing papa, not again, all that. But now looking back, I think that's what gave me a lot of things which otherwise I would not have had in my life. It's like in the movies, they say connect the dots. So a lot of things actually make sense now at this age when I look back, and right now while I'm listening to other stories as well. Then I did get an offer as a teacher from my postgraduate college itself, but again back then teaching was absolute no for me. I was research driven. It was like I need to become a scientist, I want to get into research. So I got into Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology, Hyderabad, and from there I went to University of Delaware, United States. So research was my thing back then, and I was fortunate to work in the new a setup there at proteomics. It was just then introduced. Till then, it was small bio everywhere. Proteomics was the in thing back then. So yeah, I gained a little bit of experience there. I started working on cancer project, and in United States, a little bit of NASA project where how the bone density is something where you get into space, how it varies and all that. It was quite good experience. But then I got married. I had daughter. I started thinking again, these overnight in the labs, the research, am I giving enough care to my daughter? That was one question. It was there in my mind for an year and more. And finally, I thought I need to prioritize my daughter. We moved back to India. Then I thought, let me give teaching a try. I did teach a little bit again back in States, because being a teaching assistant is a part of the research. I needed to teach these graduates. So I did teach a little bit there, and coming back to India, I thought I'll get more time with her if I get into the same school as hers. And that's how I got into the teaching. And once I got in there, I got really, really, really passionate about it. And now, if at all there's a question, what would you do if you turn around the years? Nothing else other than teaching. So that is how I've become back then.
But thank you for sharing this, because but we'll just move to the next question, and which is about you. And Prakar, maybe we'll start with you. So if you have to learn something new and choose some specific example which you have learned new in last few months. Say I want to learn Python today morning, and so if you learn anything new, what's your usual mode of learning? Will you go more digital way of learning? Will you pick up a book and start reading about it? Will you meet a friend and start having a discussion? So if you have to learn something new, what's your first preference, or what is your usual place to go to?
First of all, I look for a person who has already learned that thing. ठीक है, तो पहले मैं उसको जाके पूछूंगा, भाई क्या क्या challenges है इसके अंदर, पहले ये बता. ठीक है. आफ्टर हैविंग दिस नॉलेज कि ये जो मैं नई चीज सीखने वाला हूँ, उसका ब्रॉड स्पेक्ट्रम क्या है, मतलब क्या क्या मुझे सीखना है, और ये कैसे मुझे हेल्प करेगा, या तो मेरे करियर में या मेरे पैशन के अंदर, या क्या मैं उसको हॉबी बनाना चाहता हूँ या समवॉट, वो समझने के बाद अब एक बंदे का एक्सपीरियंस तो मैंने ले लिया, बट एक बंदे का एक्सपीरियंस इज नॉट इनफ. मुझे मल्टीपल लोगों के भी एक्सपीरियंसेस चाहिए. ठीक है. तो मे बी एट दैट टाइम आई मे सर्च ऑन यूट्यूब. ओके, वहां पे जो नॉलेज मैं गैदर कर सकता हूं वो गैदर करने की कोशिश करूंगा. आई विल ट्राई टू लर्न फ्रॉम देम, राइट. और एक बार जब मुझे एक मोटा मोटा आइडिया हो जाए कि यार ये चीज ऐसी होती है और इसके अंदर दिस इज द स्कोप ऑफ लर्निंग और ये चीजें आप अचीव कर सकते हो, अब टारगेट आएगा कि यार उसको डेप्थ में जाके सीखना है. डेप्थ में सीखने के लिए आई विल पिक अप अ बुक, बिकॉज आपको अगर स्लो लर्निंग चाहिए मुझे अपनी पेस पर, तो मैं बुक में अपनी पेस से मैं चीजों को ग्रैस्प कर सकता हूं, वहां से मैं सीख सकता हूं. एंड व्हाट आई फील इज कि बुक्स आपको एक ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चन देते हैं आपके दिमाग में कि आप सोचो उसके बारे में, एक लाइन को पढ़ो. ठीक है. एंड ट्राई टू रीड बिटवीन द लाइन्स. ठीक है, राइट. सो व्हाट आई फील इज कि अगर जब मुझे डेप्थ में सीखना होगा ना, देन आई विल चूज बुक्स.
तो कोई एग्जांपल ले लेते जो आपने कभी अभी रिसेंटली कुछ ऐसा जो आपने
जैसे मतलब रिसेंटली आफ्टर द पेंडेमिक, ठीक है, थोड़ा फाइनेंसेस और स्टॉक मार्केट के ऊपर मुझे इंटरेस्ट आया, राइट. तो मेरे आसपास कुछ लोग थे वो जो ट्रेडिंग करते थे, इंट्राडे करते थे, राइट. तो मैंने कुछ चीजें उनसे सीखी. मैं फिर यूट्यूब पर गया, तो यूट्यूब खोला तो वहां पे तो बहुत सारी चीजें थी, राइट. तो एक ब्रॉड पर्सपेक्टिव मुझे वहां से मिला. आफ्टर दैट आई स्टार्टेड रीडिंग फ्रॉम द बुक्स. So when you will actually do a trading in your with your own account, with your own money, ठीक है, तो आपके जो ह्यूमन इमोशंस हैं वो फिर आपके सामने आएंगे. So it's not about mathematics alone.
तो लर्निंग में डूइंग का बड़ा वैल्यू है. That's what
डूइंग का बहुत बड़ा वैल्यू है, राइट. एंड सेम चीज मैं अपने स्टूडेंट्स को भी बताता हूँ, राइट, कि यार मैंने आपको अगर कोई कंसेप्ट सिखा दिया, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि तुझको आ गया, राइट. What you have to do is घर पे जाना है, उस क्वेश्चन को भाई अच्छे से सॉल्व करना है और थोड़े क्वेश्चंस प्रैक्टिस करके आने हैं, ठीक है। बट तब भी गारंटी नहीं है तुझे समझ में आएगा। नेक्स्ट डे आके मेरे को डाउट पूछने, यू हैव टू कम, यू हैव टू आस्क डाउट, तब आपकी जो लर्निंग का साइकिल है वो कंप्लीट होता है।
बहुत बढ़िया। तो मैं इसको समराइज करूं कि भाई अगर मुझे कुछ नया सीखना है तो मैं एक दो लोगों से बात करूंगा, मैं पर्सपेक्टिव बिल्ड करूंगा, फिर मैं कुछ डिजिटल रिसोर्सेज यूज करूंगा टू नो मोर, आई गेट इनटू डेप्थ ऑफ नॉलेज थ्रू अ बुक एंड कीप अ ऑनलाइन कोर्स हैंडी कि भाई मैं जाके कोई मेंटरिंग करता रहे। बट फाइनली इन सबों के बाद भी अगर मैं डूइंग नहीं कर रहा हूँ तो सिर्फ लर्निंग स्टैंड अलोन वोंट हेल्प, लर्निंग अलॉन्ग विद डूइंग विल बी the trick which you use for your own self.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for bringing that perspective, because we'll build on this. Spandana, how will you, what have you learned new and how did you approach it?
Got it. I think I have two examples to share here, sir. So I think initially, what I can think of is the last time that I was trying to learn something was in one of the previous organizations that I have worked with, right? There was a problem that had to be solved with me learning something about customer success. Okay. And I'd worked in student success, but customer success, not really that much, right? So I had to learn it on the spot. So I think I am a little different from what you were saying, Prakhar, in terms of I would like to, if I have the luxury of time, I would like to first get my hands dirty first, right? So I sort of like picked up an online course from a MOOC. And then sort of like understood the concepts in depth, and that's how I sort of like learned it. And then after that, I would like to discuss that with someone who I know knows about it, just to build that that layer of depth to the subject. And then I go back and apply, and I also feel like 100% agree with you, right? I think most of your learning happens on the ground when you're actually doing it, when you apply it, and वैसे ही सीखते हैं हम. So I think that's where your the depth of understanding for that subject matters, right? And the second thing that I was trying to learn, I think, was recently when we were trying to talk about when AI came up, and we wanted to see how can we best use ChatGPT to make us more effective, make us more productive. Yeah. And then the first thing I did was just look at all the courses available online, different certifications that were available online. And I just picked up one or two of these just to build my own understanding. And I think how I learned there was, I think that's my usual style of learning. Pick a course, go enroll, like get my hands really dirty, trying to understand the subject, and then come and talk to people about it, and then apply there. So that's how I learn, and that's how it gets reinforced there.
Very nice. So approaches are two different approaches to start with,
but it boils
learning
down
by doing is at the
correct.
center.
Yeah.
How about you, ma'am? How do you approach it? Or what have you learned new? And then how do you
I think apart from what both of them shared, repeatedly doing it, that is one more thing that we'll have to do in order to learn more about it, and not to forget in case you will have to come back to it, still be able to do it, because that repeated doing of the practice is something that's very, very important, is what I feel. Otherwise you tend to forget again, just like my language skills I was telling. Once I started with Kannada, Tamil is something I understand, but I'm not able to reply. Kannada comes first to me because I got into the practice of that later point of time. So I guess practice is important.
It's very interesting. Processes followed by learning by doing, and finally practice.
Cementing by practice.
So I have this question to all three of you, and this is popcorn. Any of you can go ahead and choose, because हम learning के topic पे हैं. So in your life, what have one thing which you have learned, which you will tell to a younger Spandana, a younger Prakhar, or younger Mathili, say 10 year younger, जब आप just around college से बाहर निकल रहे हैं, नौकरी के फर्स्ट फेज में है, 1-2 साल नौकरी किया है, and maybe still married, not married, kids, no kids, वो एक यंगर सेल्फ को आप वो एक क्या लर्निंग देना चाहेंगे? मैं बहुत इंटरेस्टेड हूँ, बिकॉज डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव्स है, बट अगर हमने कुछ सीखा है अपने लाइफ में, तो क्या हम खुद के यंगर सेल्फ को क्या बोलना चाहेंगे?
I can go.
Yeah.
I think first of all, you got this, girl. it will pass.
Yeah.
I think right at that minute, you feel like something is really huge and it might not pass, and this you're stuck with this, right? But it just feels like you got this. It'll pass. It'll maybe pass like a kidney stone sometimes, but it will pass, right? I think, but largely, I think so. What I've learned in life, just through observing my parents or just people in my life who've made an impact, is there's a Chinese proverb which says, "If the wind does not serve, take to the oars. Don't wait for things to happen to you. Don't be a consumer, just be the producer of your own experiences." And I think that has really made a shift. Like, that's how I view things. Like, I don't wait to do things or things to happen to me. I see today, how can I be proactive? Today, how can I make a difference in my own life? Yeah.
राइट तो मैं अगर अपने यंगर सेल्फ के पास जा पाऊँ, मे बी थ्रू टाइम मशीन, ठीक है, 2 एडवाइस दूंगा मैं. पहली एडवाइस ये कि अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ जो है ना, वो हमेशा आपके दरवाजे पे आके दस्तक नहीं देगी. आप खुद अपना दरवाज़ा खोलो, ठीक है, और बाकी दरवाज़ों पे जाके तुम दस्तक दो. बिकॉज तुम जब खुद ट्राई नहीं करोगे, अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ खुद तुम्हारी हेल्प करने के लिए नहीं आएगी. राइट. सो ये एक पहली चीज़. और दूसरी चीज़ मैं उसको बोलूँगा कि भाई थोड़े पैसे बचा ले, है ना.
ट्रेडिंग के काम आए.
आज से 10 साल पहले जब फर्स्ट सैलरी आई थी, ठीक है, तो हमने तो उड़ा दी थी सैलरी कि भाई कॉलेज से बाहर निकले हैं. राइट. नाउ आई हैव लर्नड देयर इज अ वेरी पावरफुल थिंग विद दिस कंपाउंडिंग इफेक्ट. ठीक है. तो अगर मैं आज से 10 साल पहले कुछ पैसे सेव करके हर महीने अगर मैं उसको किसी म्यूचुअल फंड में इन्वेस्ट कर पाता, राइट, और आज 10 साल के बाद वो कंपाउंडिंग का इफेक्ट जब होता, तो मेरे पास अभी एक बहुत बड़ा कॉर्पस आ जाता. राइट.
Forget about my younger self. I would like to learn trading from you now. Let's start saving at least from now on.
The way Prakhar is promoting mutual fund,
I know.
वो जो mutual fund का ad आता है ना, mutual fund सही है यार, वो अब आपको वो ad मिलने वाला है.
Brand ambassador.
So basically, kids pay attention to your math textbooks, like the mutual fund. तो वो income tax वाला 10 मार्क का question जो आता है, that I think these two, I wish I really understood what it really
I
meant.
had on my status also recently that, you know, in schooling, what needs to be taught? Cooking, coding, taxes, all these are
Sure.
some things that you have to be
Yeah.
inculcated into the curriculum.
Yes, बिल्कुल. Ma'am, what will you tell to yourself?
I would tell myself stop cribbing and getting tensed. Because every time, like I said, when we moved around or any difficult situation, like I said, things weren't happening the way I planned ever. But that struggle actually made me what I am today. So be a lot more cooler, take it as an experience, imbibe everything, you know, be a lot more cooler and enjoy that. So that is what I would tell my younger self, because every experience had made me what I am today. So I'm glad all those things happened to me, and no regrets. Absolutely.
No, that's great. Thank you so much for bringing this. I just want to leave you guys with a tips, and which has worked for me all these years.
That would be amazing. So yeah.
You know, whenever I face a problem, I have a small diary. I just write that problem. And usually, when I go back and flip the diary after 6 months, most of these problems are gone.
Yeah.
So, interestingly, whatever is the most troublesome thing for today, as the time passes by, you know how to deal with it, and it is not. So it has helped me personally when I face a new problem to say, actually, I had faced a much difficult problem 6 months back. This will also go away. And that's why I just keep doing this, and this has always helped. Whatever today is bothering me most, write it and leave it, park it. You will see that in 6 months' time, most of that time, I don't think once or twice I would have seen a problem persisting more than 6 months. Usually it will go on. Okay, मुझे लगता है कि this is the perfect time to take the discussion forward on your personal self a little. Yeah. और personal self में 2-3 चीजें बहुत matter करती हैं. To start with, money. And जैसे प्रखर ने बोला, now he's investing. But मैं ये जानना चाहता था, what is the one costliest gift which you have given to yourself? Or think about it, because it doesn't come naturally, but आपने डेफिनेटली खुद को कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा दिया होगा जो you possess, you like to use, that gives you fun. तो वो एक क्या चीज है? And for the audience, this is very gender specific, so we get to see. Is there
तो
something-
मैं स्टार्ट कर सकता हूँ.
हाँ,
अरे wherever
Because
money
he's
is
ready
involved,
also.
trucker is on.
राइट. तो मैंने अपने लिए बाइक परचेज की है 2 बार.
2 बार.
हाँ, तो फर्स्ट टाइम मैंने बाइक लिया था व्हेन आई वाज इन मुंबई, ठीक है, आज से 2 साल पहले, राइट. फिर मैंने उसको वहीं पे सेल ऑफ कर दिया. देन आई मूव टू हैदराबाद. फिर मैंने यहाँ पर एक न्यू बाइक परचेज किया जो भी है मेरे पास, राइट. सो दैट इज द कॉस्टलीस्ट थिंग जो मैंने ली है, राइट. और फिर वो सेकंड और थर्ड नंबर पे आपके लैपटॉप, मोबाइल, वो सब है, ठीक है.
बहुत अच्छा. मतलब अगर आपने पैसा खर्च
Yeah.
किया, आपने आप उसको यूज कर रहे हो एंड यू एंजॉय इट, नथिंग लाइक इट.
यस.
वंदना?
It took me such a long time to actually think about what I gifted myself. Firstly, I wanted to say my house, but I'm like, no, it's a joint thing. Like, I haven't done something for myself, right? And I think, thankfully, I think of one thing. After 35 years, I can think of one thing that I think I've done myself. I'm someone who loves experiences, so I think I've gifted myself a trip to Rome. And I think
nice.
that has been a great investment. I think it's just because I'm someone who really loves to travel, but also to cook. And whenever I visit a place, I bond with the locals. I learn from their kitchen. I take up a cooking course with them, and I really sort of like, I think I completely enjoyed.
Again, I am also thinking since then. But men and their love for bikes
Bikes.
is something I never
Yeah.
understand. And trip to Rome sounds like Gen Z wala thing. I'm a typical Indian woman. I bought a piece of jewelry for myself.
I was expecting
Yeah.
that somebody will say that.
See,
That was my first go-to, my diamond ring. But then I was like, no, like my husband got that. Even I didn't get that for myself.
okay. I got a chain for myself.
Very nice, very nice. No, I think this question also helps you to reflect, saying that as working women or working men, there's I, there's work, and there's family.
Yeah.
So, what are you doing for the I? And my second question, is about a little bit about work-life balance. Particularly, two of you both are mothers. You have to take care of your families.
Yeah.
What is your first cut view? Today in this society, there's so much of discussion happening around it. And not that I'm not asking you the question, I'm asking you also the same question. But what is your larger opinion about when it comes to work-life balance? How do you guys see this topic itself?
Yeah.
It is difficult as a woman to balance work and life. It's not that easy. I wouldn't say it is a cakewalk, but I personally, when it comes to my story, I have a very, very supporting family. My husband or in-laws or my parents, all of them have supported me a lot throughout my journey. Otherwise, I wouldn't have, maybe I would have had to take a break or not work at all, or maybe end up not doing anything. Definitely, all of them, great support structure is something that allowed me to keep working. And of course, the kind of work I was into, I was getting motivation from there also.
Wow. So maybe before we go to Spandana, I prefer you can.
हाँ, मैं आपको मेल पर्सपेक्टिव बता सकता हूँ.
That's exactly what we need. And I'm sorry, but just
Yes, ठीक
You
है.
need to hear that,
Yes.
right?
no. I mean, yeah.
See, the thing is that me, my wife, we both are working professionals, right? ठीक है. अब ये मेल पर्सपेक्टिव है, ये मेरा पर्सपेक्टिव है एज अ मेल पर्सपेक्टिव कि ऑफिस के अंदर लेट आवर काम आ जाता है तो लड़के रुक जाते हैं, ठीक है, और बॉसेस भी बोलते हैं कि भाई आप तो लड़के हो, आप तो रुक सकते हो ठीक है, और आप अगर आप लड़की हो तो आप जल्दी जा सकते हो, आपको फ्रीडम है, राइट। तो बॉयज जनरली जो होता है ऑफिस के अंदर वो लेट रुक जाते हैं, ठीक है, और संडे को भी अगर कुछ काम आ जाता है तो वो घर से थोड़ा बहुत काम भी कर लेते हैं, राइट। बट इट्स माई एडवाइस दैट प्लीज गिव टाइम टू योर वाइफ, please give time to your family. That is very important. That is very important, right? डिफिकल्ट होगा आपके लिए और आपके वाइफ के लिए कि एक कॉमन टाइम निकालना ताकि आप फैमिली के साथ बैठ पाओ, एक बॉन्डिंग आप रख पाओ, राइट। डिफिकल्ट होता है बट प्लीज टेक आउट सम टाइम, ठीक है, कि आप दिन भर में क्या एक्टिविटीज हुई, थोड़ा सा हस्बैंड वाइफ और आपके बच्चे, आपकी फैमिली साथ में बैठो, एक बार इंटरेक्ट करो, अपने इमोशंस को शेयर करो। इफ यू विल नॉट डू इट, what is going to happen is वो सारी चीजें पाइल अप होंगी, ठीक है, एक वीक, 2 वीक, 1 मंथ वो चीजें पाइल अप होगी और एक दिन वॉल्केनिक इरप्शन होगा।
How do you see work-life balance?
I think I can just speak so much. Being as a mother, I think this is something that I'm just so passionate about and can talk. But I think I'll try to summarize it. For me, I really feel like, especially after I became a mother, I've really understood that a woman can actually do so much, and how much we undersell ourselves continuously. This is imposter syndrome that is just so heavy, and I think women we sell ourselves short. I don't think, and that's also because of conditioning, societal conditioning, and what we've been seeing as well. I don't think we know even like 10% of what we can really do, providing the kind of environment that we have. I am privileged to have a great support, family support, and a community where I know I'm loved, I know I'm accepted, and I feel great that my daughter's also sort of like growing up in that. But having said that, it's hard, especially when I think what has worked for us, like work-life balance as such, like I think a semblance of that was even possible because my husband and I, we sat down and we said, these are non-negotiables, right? Like these are things that we will do, like a yes day per month where one of us gets to pick, my daughter, my husband and I gets to pick what we do for that day, right? Like small things like that. So my husband and I think everyone asks me wife or mother what comes first. I think I always say wife first, because unless and until we have a good relationship going, there's no peace in the house, right? And what is the child really growing up in? Like this goes to a different tangent, what you were saying.
Great point actually you put forward.
I can think of.
No, that's a great point, is that somebody asked me this question and I said, organize your life, work will happen.
Correct.
A lot of people are debating
Everything
about,
summed up in one line.
that's a very interesting perspective. So I think as a organization, as in society, lot of time we are discussing how to manage work. My personal belief is how to manage life, work will happen. Because if this is not good enough, if you're not happy every day, if your expectations are not set inside home, you want to work 50 hours or 70 hours or 100 hours also. But the expectation is not set, if your relationship is not good enough, then however hard you try to manage work, this will keep bringing you back.
Yes.
Great. That's a great insight to move into the another question I have for all three of you, is that because we all go through ups and downs in life, is it anybody in your life who have stood next to you as a thought, as an individual? So say for instance, Gandhiji as a thought or my father as an individual, and both could be alongside me to say that, okay, how do you deal with honesty and how do you remain honest every moment in your life? Prakhar, who is that one person or a thought which has been a triggering point in your life?
See, Ujjwal, when you ask this question now, then what happened कि मैं शायद सोचना स्टार्ट करूँगा कि क्या कोई इंस्पायरिंग स्टोरी मैंने पढ़ी किसी और के बारे में, किसी और के एक्सपीरियंस क्या मैंने सीखे हैं, राइट? तो ऐसे मैंने बहुत सारे पढ़े, राइट? एंड द थिंग विद मी इज दैट कि जिस मोमेंट पर मैं किसी और के एक्सपीरियंस को रीड करता हूँ, ओके, आइदर थ्रू डिजिटल मीन्स और कोई बुक के थ्रू, राइट, तो क्या होता है ना कि उस पर्टिकुलर मोमेंट में बहुत अच्छा लग रहा होता है, ठीक है, रश आ रहा होता है, कि मजा आ रहा होता है कि यस ये मैं बहुत इंस्पायर हो रहा हूँ, बहुत मोटिवेटेड हो रहा हूँ, बट वो नॉलेज, वो सेंसेशन मेरे दिमाग में ज्यादा देर तक स्टे नहीं कर पाती, ठीक है। अगले ही दिन वो जो भी पढ़ा था वो सब दिमाग से वापस चला जाता है, वही रूटीन, सब इंस्पिरेशन चली जाती है, सारी मोटिवेशन चली जाती है, और जो डेली रूटीन है वो वापस से स्टार्ट हो जाता है, राइट। तो क्या चीज़ है जो आपको सस्टेन कर पाती है, वो ये, हर वो इंसान आप जिससे अपनी लाइफ के अंदर मिले हैं, जिसके साथ आपने इंटरेक्शन किया है, जिसकी स्ट्रगल आपने अपनी आंखों से देखी है, वो चीज़ ना आपके दिमाग में हमेशा के लिए रह जाती है। तो राइट फ्रॉम मेरे ग्रैंडफादर, उनको मैंने स्ट्रगल करते देखा, ठीक है, मेरे पेरेंट्स, उनकी मैंने स्ट्रगल सामने देखी है, राइट। शादी हुई, शादी होने के बाद, ठीक है, मेरी वाइफ ने भी कुछ टाइम स्ट्रगल किया, वहां से भी मेरे को इंस्पिरेशन मिलती है, राइट। और अब जब मैं ऑफिस के अंदर आता हूँ, ठीक है, एंड व्हेन आई मीट ऑल यू गाइस, ठीक है, वो हर इंसान जिसके साथ मैं इंटरेक्ट करता हूँ, उसके एक्सपीरियंसेस जब मैं सुनता हूँ, और आज ये कन्वर्सेशन जब हमारे बीच में हो रही है, राइट, ये मेरे दिमाग में बहुत टाइम तक, या शायद जिंदगी भर तक आप लोगों के एक्सपीरियंस मेरे साथ रहेंगे, ठीक है। तो खुद ठोकर खा के आप सीख जाते हो, ये बहुत अच्छी चीज है, लेकिन बेटर है कि दूसरों के एक्सपीरियंस से सीख जाओ, ठीक है, इससे आपका नुकसान भी कम होगा और आप जल्दी सीख भी जाओगे।
प्लेइंग सेफ।
यस, बहुत बढ़िया।
वेल सेड
कि थॉट्स तो आते हैं चले जाते हैं, कोई स्टिमुलस थोड़ी देर के लिए रहते हैं, बट जो आप एक्सपीरियंस करते हो अपने लाइफ में, अपने फैमिली और अपने अगल बगल के लोगों के थ्रू, अमेजिंग। स्पंदनम।
And I think I often find myself mimicking what my mom and dad would have done at that place. My mom is an MEBEd gold medalist herself, so she's an educator. And my dad's come from really limited means to where he is right now. I think that's an inspiration itself. So I find myself mimicking them at a particular situation. What would they do? How would they pray? How would they handle this situation? Right, so definitely my mom and dad. On a daily basis, my husband, because they say that the wind beneath my wings, he's really the wind beneath my wings. I often find myself saying, what would he think and what would he say and how would he, what would he do at this point as well. So I think these three on a regular basis.
My grandfather expired when he was quite young. He chose not to be, and he took a normal medical representative work in Calcutta. He waited for the whole 25, 28 years, finished job, got his children taught, and said, I want to retire at 58 and start a school, because I always wanted to be a teacher. And he started his journey, and for next 20 years, he built a school which we run in our village. So my father has been a biggest inspiration for me.
Never too late to fulfill your dreams.
Never too late. A lot of people can say whatever they want to. He started from one school, one classroom. He started the school, and today the school serves almost 800 students.
Wow.
Great. On that note, I just wanted to come to the last question. You know, most of us come from middle class background. We have done basic schooling, college, and what all three of you have achieved in such an early stage of your career. Lot of people who are going to watch this aspire to be like you. If so, somebody in Ongole, somebody in Ajmer, somebody in a village somewhere in Andhra Pradesh or Telangana or Karnataka is watching you, and what is that one thing which you like to tell that person while that person is going through their own studies, might be in 12th grade, might be in graduation, might be family pressures of marriage, to all sorts of things which happens in the society. What is that one message three of you would like to give?
तो एक चीज जो सबको कर लेनी चाहिए, ठीक है, मोटिवेशन शायद आ सकता है टाइम के साथ साथ, ठीक है, लेकिन आपके अंदर जो हार्डवर्क करने का जो जुनून होता है ना, प्लीज डोंट लीव दिस, ठीक है। वो लेजीनेस एक ऐसा दीमक है, आपको लग गया ना एक बार, ठीक है, तो फिर आप लाइफ में कुछ नहीं बन पाओगे, राइट। सो ये एक मैसेज है जो मैं सबको देना चाहता हूँ थ्रू दिस कन्वर्सेशन, ताकि हमारे जैसे जो लोग हैं और जो मेहनत करके आगे बढ़ना चाहते हैं, दे शुड डू इट, उनको कर लेना चाहिए।
बहुत बढ़िया, मतलब दिस हैज अ ह्यूज वैल्यू। शायद आज की सोसाइटी में बहुत लोग इसको बहुत वैल्यू नहीं करते हैं, इधर उधर की बातें करते हैं, बहुत ज्ञान अवेलेबल है इंटरनेट के ऊपर, बट सच्चाई ये है कि अगर आप पाना चाहते हैं तो शायद हार्ड वर्क इज द बिगेस्ट मंत्र.
Yes.
Spandana, what is
I
that
think I
for
just
you?
want to add something to what Prakhar said as well.
Yeah.
And I've read somewhere that even Mother Teresa, with who she is as a person, during the last days of her life, didn't feel inspired to get up and do what she was doing every day. But it was a dedication that made her do it. So inspiration का shelf life जो होता है, that is very short lived. But if you're dedicated towards it with the hard work, I think that really does give
Self
the
motivation.
results for sure.
एक एक्सटर्नल मोटिवेशन आपको मिलती रहेगी, ठीक है, लेकिन आपके अंदर से जब मोटिवेशन खुद निकल के आती है ना, ठीक है, तभी आप लाइन पे चलते हो.
Ma'am, what will you suggest?
I have to recall two people again in my life to answer that question. One is Janaki R. Vaidya, both were my colleagues. Another is Tripti Sen. So this Tripti Sen ma'am, she was 65 back then itself, and I asked her one day, why are you still working? She is retired from a government school and still chose to work for a private organization at that age. Now she would be 70 plus. So she's still working. She's still in contact. She's still working. So one question I asked her is, why is that you're working? And she said, Maithili, this is one question many people have asked me. My own sons tell me, why do you have to, take up so much of pressure and your health issues? All this will be there at this age. काम करने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है, क्यों कर रहे हो? So for them also and for you also, one answer I give is, work is not just giving back to the society. Work is something that gives you a routine. It gives you a discipline. It is something that makes you wake up in the morning and go to, it is a life with purpose. So this is what is something, and that's why you should never quit as long as you are healthy enough to do it. Or if you're feeling a little bit of not so healthy also, pull yourselves. Force yourselves a little more and do it, and that is good for you as well. You think you're serving the society, you're actually doing a lot of good for yourselves. So this is one thing she always said. Another person I quoted, Janaki, more than a colleague, I feel she's like my guru. She is my go-to person. Whenever I have a problem, I just call her up. The conversation go for more than an hour or so. So to every girl out there, I would definitely say, be financially independent. Not only gives you independence, but it is something does a lot of good to you, your health wise as well, and it gives a purpose. You're serving the society as well. So there are a lot of things accomplished.
Wow, very profound, because this is what actually people will love to hear from somebody who is sitting in a semi-metro in a small town, saying, how do I reach there? And this advice, that a lot of people think, now I'm 35, I'm 40, I don't need to work, I have money available at home. Work gives you discipline, work gives you a routine. I think that nobody can replace. I think the sense of accomplishment, whatever age you are, even if you're 65, when people clap for a good work which you do in office, that cannot be replaced by any amount of
anything, absolutely.
monetary benefits. I think, so whether you are 18-year-old and looking to get into the first steps of success, whether it's cracking an examination or getting into a job, maybe hard work, dedication, ability to take risk and be proactive. But even if you are 35, 40, 45, 50 or 55, 60, try to bring that routine, try to bring that discipline in your life, and getting that amazing work environment makes you feel accomplished. On that note, thank you so much for being the show, sharing this perspective, and I think this will definitely help a lot of people who are going to listen to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, actually. It's an honor to be here.
Pleasure is mine.
It's been so joyful. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.